Welcome back to another inspiring chapter. Let's step right into his world. There is a man who rose not by the comfort of inheritance, nor by the luxury of privilege, but through choices that seemed reckless at the time, yet proved prophetic. A man who walked away from medicine, failed exams, and faced expulsion, yet would someday wear Pakistan's highest civilian honor across his chest. His name is whispered in the majestic lobbies of five-star hotels, in boardrooms where billion-dollar trades are sealed, and in the streets where an NGO has left hope where once there was none. That man is Sadruddin Hashwani. But how did a boy from Karachi's bustling Lee market become the wealthiest man in Pakistan, commanding empires stretching from oil to hospitality? The answer lies in a life sculpted by resilience, audacity, and an unbending faith. Born in 1940 in Karachi, Sadruddin Hashwani carried with him the legacy of a family that had migrated from Iran to Las Bela Balochistan back in 1840. Their history was steeped in relocation, resilience, and adaptation, and that heritage flowed in Hashwani's blood. His childhood unfolded in Lassi, a locality within Karachi's Lee market. Life there was vibrant, noisy, full of commerce and struggles, a fitting backdrop for a boy who would one day master the very essence of trade. His parents wanted him to choose medicine, a respectable, prestigious profession. But young Sadruddin found himself drawn elsewhere. Cricket had stolen his heart. He played obsessively, with the same intensity that would later define his approach to business. 7 days a week, bat in hand, sweat pouring. This was his passion, but it came at a price. Studies slipped, exams failed, and eventually, he found himself expelled from college. For most, such a moment would brand them forever as a failure. For him, it was the turning point. By the 1960s, the restless Hashwani refused to settle for a small destiny. Alongside his brother Hassan Iqbal, he founded the Hassan Ali Company in 1960. What began as a bold experiment quickly became a powerhouse. By the 1970s, the firm had grown into Pakistan's largest cotton trading company, known for its volume and reliability. But history is a fickle business companion. In 1973, waves of nationalization swept across the country, and Hassan Ali Company was swallowed by the government. Years of labor disappeared in a single stroke. For many entrepreneurs, that would have been the end. For Hashwani, it was only another chance to reinvent himself. It was 1978 when Sadruddin Hashwani stepped into a new chapter: hospitality. While others hesitated, he sensed opportunity in a market still untouched by global standards. He established the first Holiday Inn in Karachi. 3 years later, Islamabad had its own under his vision. These were not merely hotels, they were statements, symbols that Pakistan, too, could offer international-class luxury and service. By the 1990s, these hotels bore a new identity: Marriott. The transformation was not cosmetic. He elevated service standards, designed these spaces as ambassadors of Pakistani culture and sophistication, and introduced his nation to a modern brand of hospitality. The decisive milestone came in 1985, when Hashwani acquired majority shares in Pakistan Services Limited. This move handed him control of several intercontinental hotels across Pakistan, but he did not stop there. He rebranded them under a new name: Pearl Continental Hotels. Over time, these iconic establishments, situated across major cities, became synonymous with luxury, safety, and grandeur for diplomats, business leaders, and tourists alike. Under his watch, Pearl Continental became the undisputed leader in Pakistan's hospitality sector. Each property was not just a hotel, but a landmark. Places where history was discussed in private lounges, where weddings of the elite lit up ballrooms, and where Pakistan's face to the global traveler was polished with pride. Yet Hashwani was never one to stay confined. His Hashoo Group began spreading its wings across industries, driven by his hunger to diversify, stabilize, and dominate. Technology companies, oil and gas exploration firms, pharmaceutical ventures, ceramics production, mining operations, and trading units all fell under his conglomerate's banner. Each decision added another brick to the sprawling empire. His foresight secured his place not just as a hotel magnate, but as a stalwart contributor to Pakistan's economy. Employment opportunities multiplied, and entire sectors benefited from his investments. What began with cotton expanded into industries that touched millions of lives. In 2014, he decided to tell his story. His memoir, Truth Always Prevails, became a bestseller. Within it, readers found more than events. They found candor, reflection, and the voice of a man who had walked through failure, government seizures, and market crashes, yet continued to rise. It was not glamorized, it was honest, stripping away the myth to reveal the grit behind the empire. Wealth alone did not define Hashwani. In May 2011, at a time when Pakistan faced internal turbulence and skepticism, he stood publicly in support of his nation and its institutions, especially the military. His words reflected his deep confidence in Pakistan's potential, a voice meant to reassure and inspire during uncertain times. For him, success was not merely material. He attributed his journey to God's blessings, to determination rooted in faith, and to the humble teachings of his forefathers. Determination, honesty, and fear of God formed the moral compass by which he navigated an unpredictable landscape. He believed that mortality itself was a guide, reminding humans to act with righteousness, to live in truth, and to leave behind a legacy of justice. Even towering figures face storms. In April 2016, his name, along with his son Murtaza Hashwani, appeared in the Panama Papers leak. The disclosures cast scrutiny on offshore financial dealings, inviting criticism and public debate. Yet, Hashwani remained undeterred. He chose to focus on his enterprises, his social contributions, and the growth of Hashoo Group. He stood firm in the belief that his legacy would ultimately be judged by what he built, not headlines that sought to diminish it. Then came the honor that placed his achievements in stone. In March 2019, President Arif Alvi conferred upon him the Nishan-e-Imtiaz, Pakistan's highest civilian award. For the first time, a businessman had received it. The moment was monumental, a formal acknowledgement of the impact he had left on Pakistan's economy and society. It was not just a medal, but a symbol that his perseverance, enterprise, and resilience had transcended personal wealth to become part of the national narrative. Standing in the grandeur of President's house, he had inscribed his name among Pakistan's greatest contributors. Despite corporate towers and luxury hotels, what gave him true satisfaction was service to people. In 1988, he founded the Hashoo Foundation, a non-denominational NGO with a mission to change lives. Over decades, it has provided health services, supported education, created skills development programs, cared for people with special needs, and delivered relief in crises. Millions across Pakistan have benefited from its work. Whether supporting women entrepreneurs in rural communities or funding healthcare access for the underprivileged, his foundation became proof of how enterprise can align with compassion. For Hashwani, CSR was not a corporate formality, but a calling, and this human side made his empire resonate not just with shareholders, but with common citizens. One of the most striking qualities of Hashwani's career is what he chose not to do. He refused to bribe. He refused to bow before unjust pressure. He fought against inequitable regulations and unfair administrations, even when such stances threatened his ventures. It required courage, but he believed faith demanded truth, and truth demanded sacrifice. His reputation as a man of principle became as much his asset as the hotels and industries he built. Above all, he wants his story to inspire others. He believes the middle class and working class hold the true power to transform nations. He urges Pakistan's youth never to be cowed by adversity. Hard work, integrity, determination, and fear of God, these, he insists, are the only tools one truly needs. Failures and falls will come, but with the right attitude, every failure is merely a step toward towering heights. From the narrow streets of Lee Market to the marble lobbies of Pearl Continental, from cricket fields to the marble halls of Pakistan's state ceremony, Sadruddin Hashwani's journey arcs like a novel that never drags, brimming with crises overcome and triumphs seized. He remains not only Pakistan's wealthiest businessman, but also its example of integrity fused with vision. His empire stands vast, his awards glitter, Yet the essence of the man is still drawn from humility, honesty, and service. For him, wealth is fleeting, but the truth always prevails.